IN crew, back to work, back to work, back to work.
Checklist 1, 2, 3.
Assalamualaikum and good day I bid to my lecturer. I, Suhaila binti Musi, will give you a presentation about community ecology. The agenda of my presentation today will be the summary of Chapter 9 and Chapter 10, which is Processes in Ecology and Community Ecology. The second agenda will be discussion of research paper on resource partitioning. Chapter 9 or Processes of Ecology can be concluded from the slide, which are species interaction with population, niche, species coexistence, and R over K selection. There are three modes of competition, which are interference, intraspecific, and interspecific competition. Interspecific competition is a two or more species that competes for food resources and habitat. Meanwhile, intraspecific competition is when an individual from same species competes for food and habitat. Lastly, resource partitioning is a situation when a new species with same food resources as another species introduced to a habitat. There will be natural selection to minimize interspecific competition. Resource partitioning will be affected because of food aspect and temporal feeding. Next is the summary of Chapter 10 or Community Ecology. In this chapter, there are three types of relationship between organisms, which are predation, cannibalism, and mutualism. There are three functional responses of prey and predators, which are linear, kurtoid, and sigmoid. The presentation will be proceed with our second agenda, which is discussion of research paper on resource partitioning. The research that has been found were conducted on 2011 by Russ Gore and his fellow researcher that titled as High Throughput Sequencing offers insight into mechanism of resource partitioning. The objective of the research is to understand the role of interspecific competition in structuring ecological community and to study the diet of two cryptic bat species, which are Plicotus austriacus and Plicotus auritus. The research has been conducted in southern England. The result that obtained from the research is majority of lepidopteran species identified in both of bat species. Common prey species in diet of Plicotus austriacus and Plicotus auritus were Anthronubus species and Hepalurus species. P. austriacus consume high proportion of Lepidoptera in summer than spring. Meanwhile, P. auritus consume high proportion of Lepidoptera in summer also than autumn. That has caused food resources to be overlapped and caused high interspecific dietary niche to be overlapped. As a result, both of cryptic bats species inhabit in two different places, which is in woodland for P. auritus and grassland for P. austriacus. The discussion that can be made from the research were Plicotus austriacus and Plicotus auritus were chosen for this research because Plicotus austriacus is the rarest mammal in Britain and restricted to southern England. Meanwhile, Plicotus auritus is a widespread bat species throughout the Isle. Differences of foraging habitat may result of intraspecific competition, and that has caused by high level of intraspecific dietary partitioning. Diet of both cryptic bats are tended to be overlapped only in summer. However, during autumn, dietary resources partitioning is the greatest since the prey resources are limited. Thus, when ambient temperatures are low in autumn, there will be more interspecific competition as Plicotus austriacus will forage to a greater extent. As the conclusion, we can conclude that resource partitioning, intraspecific and interspecific competition can occur due to changes of season, availability of food resources, and limited room of habitat. That's all from me. Thank you for listening and have a good day.